Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hilton, you said in your testimony the speed, scale, and destructiveness of the fires was the direct result of Democrat policies. I want to know why. I mean, I assume those policies are like why they stopped logging in California, why they stopped clearing controlled burns and other things that's been mentioned by all the experts and some of our colleagues. Why would they stop those things if they were working?
The answer is that, as we were discussing earlier, there's an ideology in play which is extreme, and it avoids the kind of common sense action that had been taken for years. And that's what is at the heart of the fuel load. That is the key concept here. Of course, it's true that there are winds, but it's not true to say that these Santa Ana winds were unprecedented. They were the highest in 14 years, but not unprecedented. When we hear about Los Angeles, of course I agree about the points that were made in relation to the fire chief. But there is an important, if we could use a different, take one letter from the acronym DEI and just take the I and start a different word with it, incompetence, because you did see a total lack of coordination between the city firefighting force and the county and other leadership. You saw a massive delay in getting equipment to that first fire, which could have made a big difference in containing it. 44 minutes before anyone was there. You had the warnings of this disaster on January the 2nd of severe winds, on January the 3rd, life-threatening winds. On January the 4th, the mayor leaves the country. You saw a total unprecedented set of incompetent responses in preparation. The policy failures, we've outlined them. The brush clearance was stopped, and so the fuel load was higher, and that meant that it spread, this conflagration spread so much quicker than it need have been. A point that Mr. Nadler made about the reservoir, we need to address this. He talked about a small reservoir. No, it was 117 million gallons. It was built in the 1960s precisely for the purposes of dealing with wildfires. That's why it was built. It was offline for 1 year. Why was it offline for a year? Because it was in action to comply with federal regulation about the covers, a small tear in the cover, and they empty the reservoir for a year. These are serious points. I hear all the time, we mustn't politicize, mustn't make it political. I agree with that, but it is about policy. It is about policy choices that were made that led up to the scale and severity and impact of that. On insurance as well, I hear this talk about Florida. No, it's a different reason we had a crisis in Florida with insurance. It's about scam, frivolous lawsuits, which has been addressed by the governor. In California, one of the reasons that insurance costs are so high is because it costs 4 or 5 times as much to build the exact same floor plan for a building in California as it does in neighboring states. Why? Because of the building codes, because of the CEQA legislation, exactly as my colleague was saying, we need to end the private right of action under CEQA. That would make a huge difference. You can help with that. We are all here to stop this kind of thing happening again, and there are practical, common sense things we can do, which all of us have laid out.